Good morning. I'll explain to you why you see the picture of that young white man dressed in his graduation gown in just a moment. I want to say, in all my life of living in Canada, I've never seen such back to back, unthinkable and unspeakable crimes unfold, not only just in Toronto, but across Canada. Three policemen have lost their lives by the hands of criminals. Why I'm talking about this today is because of the narrative surrounding the deaths of these police officers and innocent civilians. Because when you look at the perpetrators responsible for taking the lives of these police officers and innocent civilians, innocent women, even in their own home, you're going to realize something, that the media plays a major role in the continuation of anti Black racism and also hate. You know, I played that Malcolm X video because I'm dying for the day when Black people will care about each other and together develop more integrity and what have you. So on Saturday, June the 20th, a beautiful Black young woman was unalived right in her apartment. Her name was Aman Cowain. The person who took her life senselessly, his name is Jaden Riley, 25-year-old new comes from Newcomsett in Ontario. To this date, we've never seen his photograph in the news, and he is not a minor. But they showed the photo of the victim. Why, you ask? He is not Black. And then we saw a gentleman. His name is, well, he's not a gentleman, he's a nasty person. Idris Oladejo, 35, in Toronto, Black African man. He was arrested and charged with sexual assault. He assaulted a minor in a grocery store right here in Toronto. And then we have the 19-year-olds who were responsible for firing shots at the US consulate on University Avenue in Toronto. We saw them get caught. We saw their pictures on the news in heavy rotation. I mean, every 5 minutes you would see their faces when they got caught. The one that unalived the officer on June 11th, we were notified when he regained consciousness. Oh, we were kept up to par with his progress in the hospital. And so you saw a lot of Canadians saying, oh, it's the usual suspects, and what if you, meaning that Black people are the prime suspects or the prime candidates or the prime face of violence and crime in Canada, which is not so. Okay? And this is the problem here. We're not seeing the reason why a Black youth was found deceased all the way in the province of Saskatchewan, coming from Brampton, while at the same time, the little girl with autism, the 14-year-old girl, we saw her disappearance in heavy rotation. We didn't see much about the youth that was found in Saskatchewan unalive. Do you get where I'm getting to right now? This is the thing, okay? That little white boy in his graduation suit is being portrayed, you see the image they want to project of him. He graduated from a Catholic high school in Lethbridge, Alberta. He took a philanthropy course. Um, all good, blonde, blue eyed, clean cut Canadian child kid. Yet, he called 911. As soon as the two officers arrived, he started spraying ammunition from an AK 47. Yet, the media is portraying him as a good kid, possibly had a mental breakdown. I'm looking at comments on Instagram. They're blaming the mental health care system in Canada. Yet when it's Black youth committing this same type of crime, unaliving the same officers, they're portrayed as animals and niggers who need to get deported immediately. Not saying the underlying issue could be mental health, illness, or anything like that. You see how CBC, Global News, CTV, how they give into and perpetuate the narrative that we're nothing but a good for nothing bunch of animals who should be shipped back to Timbuktu. And this is, let me tell you something, this is why the Canadian government made sure that the bail reform was approved and signed before they picked up the 19-year-olds that were responsible for shooting up the US consulate. It was designed to make it harder for Black people to get bail. Now, crime is crime. I don't endorse crime, whether it's committed by a Black person, a white person, green, or yellow. But let's just face it. This Canadian government makes sure that they set up barriers to keep us encaged. On their news channels, they make sure to show bias and preference because they really don't care. This monster, you could see at the bottom of my screen, they didn't show him or capture him and put it in the newspaper or on the news of him dressed up in his camouflage gear as he took to because of his actions took lives. They have him in his graduation suit because already he's gaining empathy and sympathy from the Canadian white public that it had to be mental illness, not because he's an animal like the other Black people involved in these crimes lately. So, do you see how the media gives in? How the media perpetuates? Oh no, they're not going to attend a press conference held by the advocates for parents of Black children who are concerned about little white kids in the school with a death list of Black students in Ontarian schools. They're not going to show their manifestos, of course not. CBC, Global TV, CTV did not show up to the press conference they held at the Legislative Assembly building of Ontario because they just weren't interested, or to televise and broadcast that there's a bunch of white kids in these schools who have Black students on a hit list. No, they're not going to show up for that. But they'll show up to say, here's proof these Black youths are hired shooters. Hired by whom? Who hired these Black kids to become shooters? If that's the case, who hired Seth Hatfield then? And why do you show him in his graduation outfit, yet you show our Black children as a bunch of hired shotters, you know? There is bias in the media. And black people in Canada, if you can't see this, then you guys are blinder than I am, because I need my glasses. I can't read with it, but you people can't see and you continue playing games. I don't understand black people at all. Oh, I understand the motives of these oppressors like the media, law enforcement, the Canadian justice system. That's why they made haste to implement the bail reform, to make sure those 19-year-olds that shot up the consulate and the one that unalived Officer Parisi don't get no bail, and they don't see the light of day ever again when they pass in court. But this white boy here, who unalived a police officer because of his evil, a civilian got unalived by another policeman who was afraid, as you could see in the video circulating. He's in his graduation suit. He has mental illness. They're not going to bomb rush and expedite any kind of reforms to stop people like him and those rotten little white students with their death list in these schools in Ontario. Who said justice was blind? Oh, justice ain't blind. They could see when it's a black criminal and when it's a white criminal. The problem is black people continue partying and being festive and want to fit in, and what if you, and they don't even realize what clock is striking for black people. It ain't just in Canada, it's worldwide. And someday soon you're going to see they're going to push to bring slavery back. And then, oh, black folks, what will you say?